In a community, everyone should feel welcome and valued, including the most marginalized members. The exclusion and injustice towards sex workers is a concern for everyone. The stigma surrounding sex work means that sex workers experience a lot of physical and sexual violence. But what can we do about it if we want healthier, safer communities for everyone? Our story begins in Vancouver, British Columbia. Historically, there was community conflict between residents, business owners, and sex workers. Years ago, police enforcement and municipal policy pushed sex workers to the other areas of the city. That didn't work in the long term because it didn't address the root causes. It just moved sex workers into someone else's neighborhood. This type of enforcement against sex workers actually made it less safe for everyone. Community members from different neighborhoods started talking to each other and realized that everybody is impacted. They thought, if we're all living in community, don't we all have a role to play in addressing these health and safety issues? We need to work together, not against each other. Well, this concept took root in 2003, and it grew into a unique initiative that brought together residents, businesses, community organizations, police, government, and sex workers. This group formed a diverse steering committee to guide Living in Community, the name of this new model. Living in Community's early work was centered around 6 values: diversity and respect for everyone, participation, taking a stance against social injustice, creating understanding, building community, openness to different perspectives. Now, in the beginning, the lack of trust made for a lot of tension in the steering committee. Meetings were long and intense. Everybody had to really focus on their commitment to these community relationships and work through a process of building mutual trust and safety. From these early years in Vancouver, one of the biggest successes is that relationships were built among all these different members. With this, they were able to take steps forward on a common belief that health and safety are basic rights for everyone. Over the years, Living in Community grew and evolved. In 2007, through much relationship building, discussion, research, and community engagement, Living in Community's steering committee agreed on a strategic action plan to create healthier, safer communities for each and every community member. This action plan included 27 recommendations and focused on 5 different branches: community engagement, education and awareness, prevention of sexual exploitation, direct support services, policy and legal change. Over the years, Living in Community's work has evolved along many of these branches, and these actions bear the fruit of change. We meet with municipal, provincial, and federal politicians and decision makers to recommend policies and programs that keep sex workers safe. Our advocacy and education approach to government has positively impacted municipal and provincial policies to ensure that everyone in our communities is safe and respected. We also create spaces for community stakeholders to come together, share their perspectives, and learn from each other. Our unique multi-stakeholder approach to community development means we make space for everyone to be part of the conversation while centering the needs and voices of sex workers. We engage in public education and training about sex work stigma and stereotypes to foster community inclusion. In 2013, Living in Community successfully piloted Curriculum for Change, our training for a variety of sectors to respond more effectively to the needs of sex workers. Since then, thousands of participants have taken a Curriculum for Change training across Canada. This includes social service providers, students, healthcare workers, municipal government staff, community policing center volunteers, police officers in training, and more. Over the years, we've learned a lot through this process and also created a lot of positive outcomes. Working together across diverse perspectives requires time and patience, but it is possible, and it's necessary for real change to occur. Living in Community's model of collaborative community development continues to grow. In 2020, Living in Community incorporated as a nonprofit society, and in 2021, transitioned to a governance board. Over time, Living in Community has deepened and clarified our values and our process for working together. We recognized a need to better center the voices of sex workers and understand that those who enforce harmful sex work laws and policies are incompatible with our approach. We work with many communities and partners across BC and beyond to create a future where sex workers' rights are respected and where sex workers are free from stigma, violence, discrimination, and criminalization. We envision a world where diverse stakeholders can come together to share, learn from each other, and work through different sex work perspectives in order to achieve our common goals. Everybody has a role in creating healthier, safer communities for all of us. What would your tree look like?